אני לא יכולה להיות בישראל כי בגלל שאין לי טיפול שעוזר לי. החלום שלי זה להיות אחות.
House and I didn't know exactly where to go. But fortunately, with a city as laid out as beautifully as this place, you can literally just walk out the door, take a right turn to usually haven't gone to, and then you'll experience something that you've never ever seen before. And I've been here for a good amount of time now, and I decided to take this new direction, and it kind of leads into a sketchier part of the city, but you know, you gotta take some risks sometimes. So I decided to go down, and there's this big entrance under this hill, and I was supposed to climb up the hill, but instead I decided to go in it. There was a really long tunnel, and this tunnel's kind of locally famous, but I had never actually walked through it. And the moment that I walked through it, I realized like, hey, this could be a big mistake, because this shit takes forever. Because I kept walking and I felt that sudden rush of anxiety, and I don't know, it made me feel really uneasy because it was such a long fucking tunnel, you know. I started hearing screaming off in the distance. I started hearing more noises, and I realized that there's no way out other than from the beginning and the end. Sounds kind of familiar, right? Reality, human existence. At one point I seriously considered turning around because I didn't want to walk. I didn't want to continue further walking down this tunnel, which could end up being like 100 miles / kilometers, and I sure as hell didn't have the energy to do that. But you know, I'm like, fuck it, like, you gotta just push through, whether you don't, even if you don't want to or not, and especially if you want to embark in something into the unknown, and you want to embark in an adventure, you just gotta keep moving, because you never know what's gonna be on the other end. It could be bad or it could be good. But after a good, like, wasn't even that long, like 5 minutes just walking in this tunnel, there was no exit to be seen. But I mean, I'm not gonna turn back now because I'm already like probably 3/4 of the way there at this point. And the screams get louder. I don't know what the fuck they're screaming about, but it was a little terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. They were intentionally screaming for something, or at something. And I didn't want to be on the receiving end of that, because as edgy and, you know, tough as I might be, I didn't want to deal with any confrontation in this point. 2 minutes later, the screams kind of subside, and I can see the people screaming. And it's actually just a guy, a girl, another guy, and they're just friends just fucking around. So there was nothing dangerous anyways. It's crazy what your mind will tell you when something actually doesn't actually exist, when you think it's something more dangerous than it is. And towards the tunnel, the light got brighter, and the light got brighter, and the light got brighter, to the point where my camera couldn't even pick up the amount of light. As I exited, it was a completely different part of the city that I had never seen before. And the more I kept walking, I started seeing more things that I had never seen before, in the most beautiful way. There were parts of the city that I had totally ignored and neglected because I was so used to my routine. And this particular feeling of wonder, that initial shock and state of wonder that you'll experience when you see something new, there is absolutely nothing that amounts to that. So the more I kept walking, the newer and the cooler of things kept appearing, basically. The buildings that I saw. I ended up running into this giant monolith of the most beautiful type of architecture adorned in this giant building, and it happened to be a school. And I was like, damn, if my schools looked like that in America, I'd have a little more incentive to try a bit harder. If anything, I'd actually pay for it. But regardless, the more I kept walking, I started seeing other things that I had seen before. Different colors, different complementary shapes, and different everything, you know? I mean, I honestly can't even come up with the words to describe these things accurately, but I'm trying my best. There are parks that I haven't seen, there's people I haven't seen, and overall there's a generally different feeling in this part of the city that I haven't experienced in other parts of the city. There's even somebody on a Lime scooter in a restricted area. Now he's stuck there. With that being said, I think it's important to look at life in a similar direction. You follow a routine over and over and over again, and you don't exactly realize what's happening, but your spirit's getting dulled down a little more and a little more at a time, and you only recognize it towards the tail end of it. And it's important not to let yourself get to this area. It's important to break up your routine here and there and to embark on something slightly, maybe dangerous. Maybe not dangerous, but at least scary and intimidating. Because in the end, you're going to be walking down this tunnel regardless, and you don't know what's going to be at the end of it. And it's going to be scary, the tunnel's going to be dark, and you might not know whenever the tunnel might end. But it will. And I guarantee, like any near-death experience says, there's light